Welcome, everyone. So, this is going to be a discussion about the Jurassic World trilogy with an emphasis on Jurassic World Dominion. And we won't get too into it, but there will be spoilers. So, if you haven't seen any of the movies, I suggest watching those first. So, to start, Jurassic World had promise. The first one was fun for the time it came out. It was the first Jurassic sequel in 14 years. And it was fun. It was good to be back in the theater and getting to watch and hear that score on the big screen. It was all right. Now the movie had its problems. It wasn't perfect by any means, and it really pushed the weaponizing raptors subplot, and no one seemed to like that. But it was still a fun time. Pretty formulaic. Dinosaurs get out of their enclosures, mainly just one big dinosaur, and you got to take it down. And it was okay. Now it printed money. I think it grossed somewhere around 1.5 billion. So that meant sequels, and they planned a trilogy. But the first one was fun for what it was. Not the best, not obviously not as good as the original, but still worth a watch if you're a Jurassic fan. Now, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I'll be honest, I think this one is the worst of the sequels. Now, it doesn't have a lot of redeeming qualities, unfortunately. They still go with the mutated dinosaur, in this case the Indoraptor. They try to push an extinction event with a volcano, but fail to mention all the other islands. The volcano's on Isla Nublar, but they forget Isla Sorna. They don't even mention the island that is brought up in Jurassic World Rebirth. And apparently, even in Dominion, there's a different island. And there's no way that island took 4 years to develop, or 3 years to develop, whatever the time was between the two movies. So, it's not the extinction of the dinosaurs. It's not. That one probably has the worst villain of all the sequels. He's just so obvious, and I mean, he just straight up kills a guy. He kills Hammond's quote unquote business partner, which I don't think we've ever seen in a Jurassic movie before, where one literally just commits straight up murder on the other. But here we are. And yeah, the business partner was also quite annoying and so forced. I don't think most people bought it. I sure didn't, and even now I don't. But there still are themes in the movie that make it somewhat interesting. When they're, taking the dinosaurs off the island, it's kind of like a Noah's Ark type of theme there, where man is still playing God by saving its creations. So man is saving its dinosaur creations. So they do kind of keep that theme from the first movie in this movie. There are some nice shots. It has the best opening death sequence, I think, of all the sequels, which is pretty cool. I thought that had a nice setup, and it was actually kind of cool. One of the cooler parts of the movie. And there are some shots that, look nice, some tense moments. But other than that, it was just kind of a drag. And even how they set up the ending for the next one, it didn't work. I get the idea of having this cloned girl think she's like dinosaurs because they're also cloned, but it was presented in a way that was just done terribly. Like, we all knew this power of genetic cloning was going to spew into humans. We knew they were going to touch on humans somehow, some way. This was just not the way to do it, really. It took away a lot from the movie. It just felt forced. And now the kid actor does a great job. I think she did a good job with what she was given. It just didn't make for a good ending. And how it's set up for the next movie, it was deceptive, to say the least. These dinosaurs are now roaming the world that we know, our world. And so we're going to see dinosaurs out in the real world, and in farms and in intersections and city streets. We're finally going to get that. That's what this movie was going to say. And Jeff Goldblum said it himself. Welcome to Jurassic World. And even the marketing following this movie, it had dinosaurs in the real world. And so that's what people expected to see. But alas, we didn't see it. Now did we? But to tie off Fallen Kingdom, it's just a little convoluted, not really worth it. But I still saw it in theaters because it was the next Jurassic movie. But I only saw it once in theaters, so I didn't contribute too much. And now Jurassic World Dominion comes in. And this one, it just seems like they didn't know how to transition to it. Because even Colin Trevorrow, he steps away from directing the trilogy in the second movie. He does the first one, skips the second, directs the third. And I get that. That's fine. He wants to cap off this trilogy of movies. But to get there, it wasn't well done. And they set up the dinosaur in the real world scenario and kind of just abandoned that altogether. The Malta sequence was the only sequence that really touched on it, and that kind of gave us a taste of black market dinosaurs and dinosaurs in the real world. But it almost was a useless storyline. Now, talking about Jurassic World Dominion, it's overall not a bad film. It's just very poorly executed. And I've seen this by most reviewers. It just has a poor screenplay. So many conveniences, but still so many plot holes, and it's trying to do too much. It overreached for what it delivered, and that's what brought the movie down the most. However, for me, it's the deepest of all the Jurassic sequels, and that includes The Lost World. That includes Jurassic Park 3. That includes Jurassic World. Jurassic World still had some deeper themes. It was kind of a commentary that consumers are never satisfied, more or less. And then with Fallen Kingdom, I touched on it earlier. Man is still playing God by saving these dinosaurs in like a Noah's Ark scenario. But this third one, they wanted to come full circle on the idea of man playing God. And how they do that is with the locusts. And so one thing I've seen with all these reviews about Jurassic World Dominion is most people seem to miss the point of the locusts. A lot of people compared them to Monsanto and how they're manipulating crops and manipulating the market to where you have to buy Monsanto feed and stuff like that. And while true, they are commenting on that, but there's a bigger picture. With the locusts, they're a punishment on mankind. In the Bible and in religious lore, I guess, locusts are one of the punishments sent down by God for impersonating him. And so this is feeding into the theme of man playing God. They are playing God, so much so that they are punishing themselves with a plague of locusts that's threatening mankind. And again, the filmmakers were kind of obvious with it, almost somewhat obvious. They have one scene that jokes about the other plagues, and that's it. That's the commentary on it. And so if you don't know what the plagues are or whatever, then you're not going to get it. Which is weird. It's weird that most reviewers either missed that or just didn't mention it. A lot of reviewers just say, we focused on locusts. Why? Well, this is why. Locust is one of the plagues sent by God for impersonating him. And so man is impersonating God so much so they are punishing themselves for being God because they created the locusts. Man created the locusts. These aren't God's locusts. This is man's locusts. And so that's what the filmmakers were trying to get across with the locusts, is playing God. And they wanted to come full circle from the very first film, from Jurassic Park, that man is playing God. Now they're punishing themselves for playing God. But it doesn't stop there. In the Bible, in religious lore, the Savior for the sin of man is Jesus Christ, who's the son of the Virgin Mary. Jesus Christ was produced asexually by the Virgin Mary. And Macy was produced asexually by her mom, Charlotte. And I don't know if you also notice, Macy is pretty close to Mary, Charlotte pretty close to Christ. And they're just flipping it. Funny enough, Macy, her DNA is the savior for mankind, will save mankind, like Jesus saved the sin of man. And so that's a parallel they're making there. And furthermore, I think Dr. Sadler said it best in the first film.
Dinosaurs eat man. Woman inherits the earth.
Now, it's not exactly like that. The dinosaurs aren't eating man, but it's to speak on this godly power of genetics. In the hands of man, with this godly power, they bring death, destruction, and near extinction. But in the hands of woman, Mother Nature, Mother Earth, it brings salvation. It creates a savior in Macy. And so these are the higher points that the filmmakers are trying to get across. And if you look at the writing from that viewpoint, it makes a little more sense. Now, I'm not saying this forgives the movies of its flaws. It does not. This movie is still very flawed. It has a very poor screenplay, and it needed much more reworking than it got. But the ideas were there, and they were trying to cap off the themes from that first film, the original Jurassic Park. So I will give the film credit there, because it is, it is a pretty interesting concept. That man playing God, man paying the price for playing God, and then woman being the savior of man playing God. And so I just want to say this because most people seem to miss it. A lot of people either didn't know the point of the locusts, thought they were a waste of time, which in a way they were, or just didn't really care enough to think about it. And that's fair. I mean, it's honestly, it's a little bit of a convoluted movie. But again, just like Fallen Kingdom, still good parts. Some of the positives for me with this movie are the dinosaurs. They're all real dinosaurs. There's no mutants in this one, at least. The Therizinosaurus was done really well. I liked seeing a predatory herbivore, and I don't know if there's much evidence for it being this predatory, but it's, when it first shows on screen and it just swipes at deer for drinking out of its water, it's, kind of a dick move, but it was intense. It was a good scene. And I would have liked an animatronic of the Therizinosaurus, not the Giganotosaurus. That felt kind of wasted and flat. And another improvement there, I think instead of the Giganotosaurus, bring back the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. Really come full circle. Have that thing terrorize them. And then for the end fight, have the T-Rex beat the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. And there's your complete circle. There's your full circle. There's your full redemption. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's a dumb idea, but that's what I would have liked to see. Because the Giganotosaurus, it could have been anything. It could have been the I-Rex. It could have been the Spinosaurus. It could have been, I don't know. It could have been literally anything. It didn't really matter. And it was nice to see other dinosaurs in there. It was also cool to see Dimetrodon in that cave sequence. That was nice. The movie is still riddled with flaws. I don't know why Chris Pratt has to use the Force on every dinosaur. That's just silly. When Chris Pratt grabs the Dilophosaurus by the neck, that just pissed me off. That for me, that's the lowest point of the franchise. That's lower than the dream sequence from Jurassic Park 3 with the raptor saying Alan, and that's worse than the Lost World with the raptor kick, where the little girl kicks the raptor. It's that for me. Owen grabbing the neck of a Dilophosaurus, lowest point in the franchise. I'm sorry, but I can't get over that. That was just ridiculous. But to finish the point home, this movie was flawed, deeply flawed, but it did try the most. It had the heaviest themes of any of the sequels. And it really did try to come full circle from that original Jurassic Park movie in terms of the inciting incident. In the very first movie, Jurassic Park, Nedry uh, turns off the security systems, and that's the inciting incident, if you will. Well, in Dominion, the good guys set off the security system, if you will, to start off the dinosaurs getting out and the locusts getting out. It's the good guys. So they were trying to really come full circle and really expand on the ideas of the first film. And that's where I give the film credit. Now, it could have been executed a million times better. We all know that. But it was nice getting to see Dr. Grant and Dr. Sadler again, finally getting to see their arc complete. It was good seeing that on screen. And, Jeff Goldblum's always great. But most reviewers who missed these higher themes, missed these deeper themes of man playing God, man paying the price of playing God, and then woman being the savior of man playing God. So I hope that makes sense to at least some people. Let me know what you guys think. Am I just completely insane? Am I reaching too much? Or does that make sense? Because I feel like the filmmakers were trying to say that by using locusts, specifically locusts, not beetles, not moths, and with that one scene of dialogue with a random character. I think that was the point of the film, and most people seem to miss it. Again, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm interested to see if anyone resonates with this, if anyone else picked up on it, or if I'm just crazy. Either way, that was pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching if you made it this far.